The energy at EFC Titanium was unlike anything the promotion had seen in months. Fans packed into the sold-out arena, every face expectant, every eye glued to the cage as two of the most dangerous and dynamic fighters in the women's flyweight division stepped in to make history. Shanna Adrian Power versus Kirsty Davis wasn't just a fight, it was a collision of legacies, a proving ground, and the kind of battle that promised brutality, beauty, and all-out war. Shanna Adrian Power, unbothered, untouchable, a cold, calculated striker from Johannesburg with lightning in her hands and ice in her veins. Across from her stood Kirsty Davis, the brawler from Durban, with a never-back-down heart, a relentless pace, and the kind of raw power that could end any fight in an instant. No titles on the line, but everything else was. The bell rang, and from the first second, it was clear this would not go the distance. Shayna circled, her stance low and balanced, testing distance with feints and jabs. Kirsty came in heavy, closing space and pushing the pace. A wild exchange ignited in the first 30 seconds. Shanna landed a crisp 1-2. Kirsty responded with a brutal left hook that rattled the crowd. They didn't feel each other out, felt each other's power immediately. Shanna's technique was cleaner, sharper, but Kirsty's volume and aggression gave her the edge early on. Halfway through round 1, Kirsty backed Shayna up with a body-head combo that ended in a nasty knee in the clinch. Shayna fought off the fence with an elbow and circled out, regaining her composure. Round 2 saw Shayna adjust her timing. She began slicing through Kirsty's guard with sniper-like straights. A front kick to the body slowed Kirsty's charge. Then a right cross snapped her head back. Kirsty responded with a takedown attempt, but Shanna sprawled, countered with a knee to the chest, and punished her with ground and pound before standing back up. The round ended with both women breathing heavy but defiant. In round 3, Shanna began turning the tide decisively. Her footwork kept Kirsty guessing, and her accuracy became surgical. A left hook opened a cut under Kirsty's eye. Then came the spinning elbow flush to the temple. Kirsty staggered but didn't fall. The arena screamed. Shayna poured on punches, but Kirsty bit down on her mouthpiece and fired back, landing an uppercut that stunned Shayna momentarily by round 4. Both women had absorbed more than most could handle. Shayna's right eye was swelling. Kirsty's face was a mask of blood and grit, and still they advanced. Kirsty finally landed a takedown, dragging Shayna to the mat. The crowd exploded. Kirsty moved to half guard and threw elbows, but Shanna kept her composure, shrimped out, and returned to her feet with the kind of slickness that only elite fighters possess. Then came the moment that would define the night. In the 5th and final round, after nearly 20 minutes of carnage, Shanna threw a jab, feinted a low kick, and launched a head kick that cracked against Kirsty's skull. The sound echoed. Kirsty wobbled. Shanna followed with a flying knee. Kirsty collapsed to the canvas. The ref rushed in. It was over. Shayna Adrian Power by knockout. Round 5. 1 minute and 24 seconds in. The crowd erupted. Coaches rushed in. Cameras flashed. And Kirsty, ever the warrior, raised her glove in salute from the canvas. She'd gone out swinging. Post-fight, Shanna stood in the center of the cage, arms raised, her face bruised but smiling. "That was the toughest fight of my life," she told the crowd. She wouldn't go away. I had to find something deeper, and I did. Kirsty, speaking to media moments later, said, "That's what I signed up for. If I'm going out, I'm going out like that. On my shield, Analysts immediately hailed it as one of the greatest women's fights in EFC history. Every round had been a war, every moment a test of will, skill, and sheer violence. Fans online demanded a rematch. Others suggested Shayna deserved a title shot next. One thing was certain: both women walked out of that cage as legends, not because they were perfect, but because they refused to break, because they made the cage their cathedral. And on that night, Titanium lived up to its name. It was pure, raw, unrelenting war. Johannesburg shook with anticipation. EFC Titanium was in full swing, and the fans packing the arena knew they were about to witness something historic. The spotlight turned toward the cage as two of the fiercest fighters in the women's flyweight division walked in: Shana, Adrian Power, and Kirsty Davis. This wasn't just a matchup of talent. It was a collision of will, of violence, of two warriors unafraid to leave every ounce of themselves inside the cage. Shana, Adrian Power, with her icy stare and reputation for dismantling opponents, carried the confidence of an undefeated striker. Her precise style and methodical power had earned her a growing fan base and plenty of fear. Across from her stood Kirsty Davis, a battle-tested bruiser from Durban, known for her reckless aggression and undying engine. If Shana was the scalpel, Kirsty was the sledgehammer. The opening bell sounded, and they exploded from their corners like rivals in a blood feud. Shana kept her distance, light on her feet, testing the waters with long jabs. Kirsty charged, swinging looping hooks and driving knees in the clinch. The first minute saw Shayna land a clean right cross, only to get hammered by a flurry from Kirsty that backed her into the cage. They didn't dance. They threw down by the end of round one. Shayna had begun timing her counters, but Kirsty's pace was unrelenting. Each shot she landed shook the arena. Each miss from Shayna drew gasps. The first round was a battlefield with no winner, just survival. Round two brought changes. Shana's corner urged her to control the chaos. She obliged, sniping at Kirsty with a piston jab, mixing in low kicks and check hooks. Kirsty barreled forward regardless, absorbing damage like a machine. But when she got Shayna in the clinch, the damage told a different story. Short elbows and knees punished Shayna's body, reddening her ribs and breaking her rhythm. The third round was war. Shayna upped her output. A left hook-right cross combo opened a gash over Kirsty's eyebrow. Blood poured, and still Kirsty advanced. She drove Shayna to the cage and landed a knee that buckled her opponent's knees. But Shayna didn't fall. She circled out, reset, and landed a clean spinning back kick to the midsection that stole Kirsty's breath. For every moment one woman surged, the other responded with fury. Round four arrived like thunder. The pace slowed, but the intent behind every strike deepened. Shayna picked her shots, tagging Kirsty with a slick right uppercut followed by a teep to the solar plexus. Kirsty gritted her